What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to Down to the Wire. I'm your host, Brian Costa, and we have a great episode in store for you guys today. Joining me on the episode is an individual who I wasn't planning to have on this show by any means necessary, but basically it was, a last-minute kind of thing thrown together. I was originally going to have Adam Wright, host of the Fumblerooski podcast, on this episode, but, when Adam bailed, I had to turn to other options. And those other options included reaching out to my brother's baseball teammate, who is currently just staying at our house right now for a baseball tournament. So without any further ado, I'll welcome to the show Braden Ventura. Braden, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing pretty good. We just had a tournament. We had a game this morning, and just got back. So
yeah, I mean it's been pretty crazy. I mean, I was very surprised to get you on the show today. How'd you guys do in the tournament?
We did pretty good. We had a showcase today, so we had a little bit of BP, and then we threw the ball around. We all did. Me and Pat did both very good.
Yeah, that's awesome to see. I mean, I know that you and Pat both play for the college prospect team L&M Baseball. I know I'm gonna be trying to reach out to one of their veterans over this weekend. That'll be a pretty exciting interview I have in store. Obviously, I'm working with them over the summer as their social media director, kind of working their Instagram. So that's been kind of a fun little summer hobby / job for me.
Yeah, it was cool to have you around, taking videos of us, posting on Instagram. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I got that one clip of you kind of making some plays behind the plate. I want to get some plays. I want to get some clips of you just mashing the baseball. Come on, let's get at it.
Yeah, I know. I gotta get on that.
But nah, without any further ado, I think we should get right into the meat and potatoes of this whole episode and get right into basically the thing that's been on everyone's minds, at least baseball fans. I know that you were saying that of all the sports that you follow, you play baseball, but it's one of the sports that you follow the least.
Yeah, I've been playing baseball since I was 7, and I play almost every day. So I feel that watching baseball after my baseball game sometimes it gets a little boring.
I feel that. No, I can definitely I can see where that comes in. Now I'm done playing baseball, so unfortunately watching is the only thing I have left at this point. But I was for anyone who with just eyes at this point, the Boston Red Sox have just been a complete disaster right now. I mean, when I was looking at it, they were losing 10 of their last 13 games. Now, I know they had a big outing last night. They scored 20 runs against the Rays. Like, they absolutely showed out big time, and the offense came alive. But to say the least, the performance they've been putting up lately has been absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, like 2 nights ago, we were up going into, I think it was the bottom of the 7th, and we ended up losing. We're up 4-2. We ended up losing by like a couple of runs. I was surprised. I went to bed thinking we were going to win. It was crazy.
I know. I thought we were going to win with that one too. There was also the game in Toronto where we were up like 8-2 or 7-2 at one point. We blew that one too. I mean, there's just been some terrible losses so far. And, it makes me just think like the Red Sox had a chance to make some really good moves at the deadline, really get some guys that could have helped this team. But instead we went with Kyle Schwarber, who still hasn't played a game for us at this point. And we got 2 relievers, Hanzo Robles, and we got Austin Davis, who, if you look at their career ERAs, one guy's ERA is basically close to 6 and the other guy's close to 5. These moves were not meant to help this team down the stretch. Like, it wasn't like all these guys basically were meant to do when they came in was just to eat innings.
Yeah.
It's so bad. Like, I don't know. When I'm seeing all this stuff go down, it's like I want the Red Sox to make the moves that they can make. They're a big league franchise. Like, I know Chaim Bloom came up here from Tampa, and he kind of has the whole philosophy of like playing small market and like doing all that. And while that has its benefits, there are definitely some areas where we've overspent on some contracts, and we definitely maybe needed to kind of pull back a little bit. But when you're in first place in the division, which the Red Sox were at the time, it's like, all right, the time is now. Like, time is of the essence. I know we have kind of a long-term rebuild plan where, 2023 is kind of our target goal. And I'm not saying that we had to go out and get guys like Max Scherzer and kind of do all these crazy moves, but there were definitely some moves that I think that the Red Sox could have made, especially getting a guy like Anthony Rizzo, who ended up going to our rival Yankees and doing other things like that. I thought that there were definitely some moves that could have been made.
Yeah, I agree. Anthony Rizzo is a big lefty bat in the lineup. I think we can use that. Good first baseman, and I think we could have used more a better trade deadline. We could have traded some valuable pieces.
Absolutely. I mean, there were guys like Ryan Tepera who ended up going to the Chicago White Sox. I think they got him for like the 23rd prospect in their system, and we have a better system than them. And it just makes you think like he's a pretty good reliever. We could have gotten someone like that. And, another guy too that came up was the Dodgers ended up acquiring Danny Duffy. Now he's currently injured, but they acquired him from the Royals for a player to be named later. Now, like, listen, sometimes a player to be named later can turn into a guy and to, be a legitimate MLB player. But the majority of the time, you barely even know who the hell the guy is. So it's like, I really just wish that, that would have been a move the Red Sox could have actually gone on. It could have been like, all right, we'll sort out the terms of the deal later based on how this guy performs. Bring in a guy like that, and that could have been someone who could have really bolstered your rotation. So, while I am pretty disappointed with that, and I hope that they can pick it up. At this point, with the performance they've been having, it's more than just like the front office at this point. It's more than just saying, all right, this is the ownership's fault for not wanting to spend more money. This is the general manager's fault for wanting to do this. At this point, with this kind of a slump, you kind of do have to, ask the players what the heck is going on at this point.
Well, after a big win last night, and if we win tonight, I think we're only 2 games back. So we're not out of it. We still got a chance.
No, so we're definitely not out of it. And I want to preface that, first of all. I want to preface that we're in a, we're not completely dead. And, with the Red Sox right now, I think, we are playing the Rays, which, hopefully could help us down the stretch with them being our division rivals. And, those games we could actually win back like at a time and not really have to hope on the Rays losing. If we beat them, we obviously move up in the division. But the Yankees, who a lot of people thought were dead for the longest time, I think, coming into yesterday's game, there were only 2 games back of us. And, currently Rizzo's out for them. And the Blue Jays right now, they're in 4th place in the division, but they're only, I think, 4 games back of us. And it's crazy to think that if this streak continues, the Red Sox could go from being in 1st place about 3 or so weeks ago to in 4th in the division in just a matter of a couple games. It's crazy how competitive this division is because, I was looking at there was something I was seeing, and it said that the Toronto Blue Jays, they're currently in 4th place in the AL East, but if they were in the NL East, they'd be in 1st.
Yeah, like I feel like we have one of the best divisions in baseball, and it's tough. And we're 2nd place right now, and we're only 2 games back. I feel like we're gonna get back on track.
I hope so. I mean, I hope you're right with it. One of the pieces that would hopefully help us get back on track would be Chris Sale, who's, it says that now he's going to be returning in T-minus. It says, let's see. Today is the 12th, so he's going to be returning in 2 days. He's going to be facing the Baltimore Orioles this Saturday. How do you feel about Chris Sale coming back?
See, Chris Sale has a monster arm, very good slider. I feel like he's tough to hit. I think he's a valuable piece for the postseason. We need pitching in the postseason. I think we can ride him all the way.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that he can be the solution that we need too. I mean, kind of going off of it, I don't know if you saw like the whole kind of thing with Chris Sale coming back, like his rehab starts, like people were like at Portland and in Worcester, like they flocked to the stadium to go see him pitch for the first time in a long time. I guess like at the AAA stadium in Worcester, people were scalping tickets for about $200 to get in and see him pitch. Like people were calling like anyone with season tickets and saying, hey, if you're on vacation, we want your tickets. We want to get and see the game. Some people are like, what the heck is happening? And it's like, Chris Sale is pitching. We need to see him. It's a rehab start, but we don't care. We want to see this guy pitch. And it's kind of been like a rock star kind of thing, like going through. It's like the weirdest thing I think I've ever seen, especially for a rehab stint.
Well, he's a bona fide superstar, and he's a former Cy Young, and hopefully he can return back to his old self before the injury, maybe back to his form when he was with the White Sox, and bring us back to another title.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely what I'm hoping for. I hope that he can be that kind of a kick in the ass that this team desperately needs at this point. We really do need that. And if he can get back into it, then, hopefully the Red Sox can rally around him because, he's back at Fenway now. I don't know if you've seen pictures of it, but he'll be just throwing bullpens, and every single player and every single pitcher is just watching this guy throw. Yeah. And I hope that it's the case where they're not putting all their eggs in the Chris Sale basket where it's like, this guy's going to lead us to the promised land and they kind of all lax off. It's like, hey, this guy's going to come back, so you guys better work your ass off.
We still got to get there, though. That's the main goal.
100%. I mean, there are some other moves going on with the Red Sox too. I guess Garrett Richards just got moved to the bullpen today. Another Red Sox pitcher going there. I think Martin Perez just got moved. So, there are going to be a lot of, kind of questions, I think, with the rotation going into the postseason. Obviously, Chris Sale's going to be in that starter role. Nathan Eovaldi will be there. It's looking more and more likely that Tanner Houck is going to work his way into the rotation with the way he's been pitching. He's essentially a righty Chris Sale. But it's a lot of questions are going, what are the Red Sox going to do with this rotation? Because they're adding, these kind of flawed starters to their bullpen, hoping that can bolster some depth. One of the guys I'm seeing on the market right now, he actually just got released today, was former Cubs Cy Young Award winner Jake Arrieta. He's had a rough kind of comeback with the Cubs. He really tried to, revive his career after kind of flaming out with the Phillies towards the end. He was doing really well with them at one point, but he's kind of always been an up and down guy. When he was on the highs, he was one of the best. Obviously, won a Cy Young at one point, but when he's crashed, it's been bad. This year I think he went 5-11 with like a 6.88 ERA. If you're the Red Sox, with the struggles you've had with pitching, is he a type of guy that you give like a kind of a minimum contract to bring in and see what he can do, especially with the postseason presence that he had with Chicago?
I mean, with his kind of talent, and you never know what's going to happen. He gets very hot sometimes. I mean, what can hurt if you just bring him in for a minimum contract to see what happens? New change of scenery. Who knows what he can do?
Yeah, I mean, he would definitely be someone I'd be intrigued to see in Boston. I mean, obviously the Cubs, for you saw what they did at the trade deadline. They sold off everybody: Rizzo, Bryant, Baez, literally anybody that was of value went out the door for them. And it makes me wonder like what they're going to try to do going into what they're going to try to do going into next season. But maybe if you get Arrieta into a more competitive situation, get those competitive juices flowing, maybe you can get something out of him and get some really good starts, maybe the rest of the regular season. And if he proves it enough, maybe you get him in the postseason.
The Cubs, I don't know, man.
I'm talking about the Red Sox. If he was to go to Boston.
Definitely. Yeah. If you get him in the postseason, old players play better in the postseason. I don't know why, but they always come out. The best stuff is always in the postseason.
They do turn it up a notch. I will give you that. But, that kind of concludes what we have in terms of Red Sox news. The final bit of baseball news that I did want to kind of touch on was something that really did piss me off, frankly. I don't know if I mentioned this to you briefly, but, the Olympics just concluded, like literally, just last week. They just ended. The USA did dominate once again, did take home gold. And, I think we had the majority golds, beat out China, but I think won. But in terms of total medals, we blew everyone out of the water. But, obviously the Tokyo games, very weird this year, all the COVID protocols, everything that went there. But one of the things that I was happy to see with the Tokyo Olympics was the return of baseball in the Olympics. And it was like really exciting. And, while it wasn't the World Baseball Classic where you get like these actual major league superstars, you did get to see some guys like Red Sox prospect Tristan Casas, other guys like that perform. I think Todd Frazier went over and was with Team USA. But they performed this year. They ended up getting silver. They fell to Japan in the gold medal game. But looking back on it, now that that's all concluded, we're now looking forward to the 2024 games, which are going to be taking place in Paris. And, unfortunately, baseball isn't the biggest thing over in France. And in return for doing so, Paris decided to replace baseball in the Olympics for 2024 with breakdancing. Now, what are your thoughts?
See, my sister dances, so I can't say anything bad about breakdancing.
Oh, come on.
But baseball is a sport played around the world, and is dancing not to offend anyone, but is dancing really a sport? Baseball is a skill that you take it's been played for many years, since anyone can remember. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe because I'm from America and baseball was made in America. I don't know.
I'm just getting ready for all the dance people to flame you in the comments.
I'm sorry. My sister dances and I love it. I go to all of her meets. I love it, but you can't compare it to baseball. Come on.
I mean, just like, I'm not even saying like you can't have breakdance in the Olympics, but to take away baseball in return for it is just so like disappointing. It pissed me off like to no end.
And it's not only like America. It's not like football where only America plays it.
Oh no, yeah.
Baseball's played around the world. Like how do you take that away?
And like there's different, like, based on where it's played too, it's, stylistically different. If you take people from the Dominican Republic, they play it different from people in Puerto Rico who play it different from people who were born in the US and Japan and different things like that. Like, I don't know if this was correct, but I remember seeing something on MLB a while ago, and it was that, depending on what country you were born in, your pitching mechanics are different depending on that. Like, I think they said that, in Japan, they try to focus on a, more kind of, lowered center approach when you're kind of delivering a pitch. Like you see like guys like Darvish and all these guys used to remain low to the ground when they were delivering a fastball. But then you look at guys like Aroldis Chapman, who, would use their upper body focus and more, and would really kind of, go over the top and just fire away. And, it's two different approaches, but, it just depending on where you're from, that's how you're taught. There is a real kind of art to it. And to see it be taken away for breakdancing is just like, what the heck, France? I mean, I don't want to be blaming countries on this show, but France, you can piss right off. It really just annoys me. But luckily, it seems that the plan is for baseball to return for the 2028 games when it goes to LA. They're going to be able to use probably either Dodger Stadium or the Angel Stadium for those games, which will be pretty exciting to see. I doubt there will be a pause in the season to do anything. They're probably gonna have to build the Angels and Dodgers schedules around that, so that way they're kind of on a road trip whenever that goes down. But going into it, I hope that I hope to see baseball return sooner rather than later in the Olympics, because it was fun to watch.
Definitely, and I'm happy that's going to return in 2028 when it comes back to America. So that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I just hear the year 2028. It just doesn't sound like a real year. I mean, I didn't think I was ever going to see the year 2019, let alone, because that was my graduation year, let alone my college grad year now is 2023. Like 2028, I don't even know what I'm going to be doing. Like, I'm going to be 27 years old. Like, what the hell am I going to be doing?
You won't be home anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I probably won't be. It really depends. I mean, am I still doing this show? Maybe not. I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see from there. But what am I going to be doing in 2028? That is the question. When baseball does finally return to the Olympics, I'll be excited to see it return. But that really concludes what we have in MLB news. In NBA news, which I was actually surprised. I didn't know that you were as big of an NBA fan as you kind of showed yourself to be. Obviously the Boston Celtics, finally made kind of a splash move in free agency. I know that they acquired Al Horford and traded away Kemba Walker, but for a while the question was, what are the Celtics going to do at point guard? And while I don't think they're necessarily done, they did address that need by going out and signing Dennis Schroder, taking him from the rival LA Lakers, sign him to a 1-year, $5.9 million contract. And while that seems like a good move for us, and it is, I mean, when you hear what Dennis Schroder missed out on with that Lakers contract, 4 years, $84 million, and he turned it down. I'm just like, dude, you're an idiot. You had the bag and you fumbled it away. That hurt me to my core when I saw that.
Well, that just shows how committed he is to playing, because he knew Russell Westbrook was going there. It would have been tough for him to get playing time. Now he's going to
playing
the Celtics.
Time, but dude, $84 million.
That just shows how much he loves it.
No, that means he thought he could have gotten more in the market, and the market proved him wrong.
Well, I'm just happy because I feel like he's a bona fide bucket and he can score at any time. I'm just happy for the Celtics.
No, I think for the Celtics, it's a steal of a move to get him for that cheap. Like, that's a great move for us. I will not discount that whatsoever. I think to get him for that price is a great move for us.
Definitely, he's a bona fide bucket. I feel like he can score anywhere on the floor. He can get it. He can make his own shot. He can distribute. He's a great player. I love to have him around Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I love it. I feel like we're going to be very good this year. Maybe conference finals, maybe finals. Who knows?
I like the predictions there, Braden. I like it. One of the other things I'm hoping to see is if the Celtics can get a legitimate center. Now, I've kind of said it. I don't know if I've said it on the show, but I've said it a lot with my friends. I don't believe the Celtics have had a true center since Kendrick Perkins was on the team. Now, we've had Al Horford. We've had other guys like that. I mean, the only other true center that we've probably had was Greg Monroe. And, I remember when we got Greg Monroe, it was like, oh my God, we got a legitimate center. But it was washed Greg Monroe. Like, we haven't had a legitimate center starting for the Celtics since Kendrick Perkins.
I agree. I'm a big Kelly Olynyk guy. So we had Kelly Olynyk. I was kind of upset when he went to Miami, but now he just got paid in Detroit. So
yeah, he did.
But I love Al Horford. Al Horford's more of a power forward though.
That's the thing with me. Like, I love Al Horford. Give him a wide open shot. He's not missing it. But I'm just like, and for a long time, he was our solution to Giannis. Like, he was kind of that guy. But at this point, he's an older guy, and I don't think having him down in that center role is the answer that the Celtics team needs. But, another thing that I kind of am interested in with the whole Al Horford deal and other things like that was, bringing Al Horford back. Do you think that he's going to be still good in his older years at this point?
I think Al Horford, it will always be decent because he's so good fundamentally. He has the down low. He's good defensively, and he hits his free throws. That's big. It's big for a center to hit his free throws. I really like Al Horford.
Yeah. Another move that the Celtics did make, which, it's close to a traditional center role. I don't necessarily consider it as much, but someone who was close to that role that we ended up bringing back was Enes Kanter. He's now returning to the team after going, I think, back to Portland for a year. He'll be coming back to Boston. What do you think about this move?
Enes Kanter is a good offensive piece, but defensively, he's not a good rim protector. It's tough. I don't know. I feel like we still don't have that big rim protector that we need. I don't know. Maybe like go out and sign a Hassan Whiteside or something like that.
I like that. That's an interesting name to throw out there.
I feel like we just need a rim protector. Someone defensively. I feel like Hassan Whiteside could do that. I don't know. Just we don't have a rim protector. Al Horford's too small, and Enes Kanter is too soft. He's not strong enough down low.
100%.
Daniel Theis, though, I like Daniel Theis.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's on the Bulls now, I believe.
Oh, he did. We traded him.
He's on the Rockets now.
Yes, we traded him.
Yeah, we traded him to the Bulls, and now he's on the Rockets, which is unfortunate because, while he was a shorter guy, he did kind of play that center role. What I am trying to figure out now is, with bringing back Enes Kanter, with Brad Stevens now taking over in that front office role, doesn't this in your mind show that Brad Stevens probably wanted to keep him where Danny Ainge was willing to move on? Does that kind of show like a difference of opinion, or was this just more contract based than anything?
I feel like we were paying him a lot. I feel like it was more contract based. I think we got him for a little bit cheaper now.
Yeah.
So Alfred Horford's a little older, but he can still play a very meaningful role in our offense. And I feel like Brad Stevens realizes that, and that's why we signed him back. And I feel like there was no like beef or anything when he left. I feel like it was a good fit. Him coming back. Yeah,
I agree. The final thing in NBA news that I wanted to talk about with the Celtics is that there were rumors that they were going to talking about reunions, guys like Al Horford bringing back Enes Kanter. There were other rumored reunions that the Celtics were the Celtics were interested in looking into. Names included Kelly Olynyk at the time. He ended up going to Detroit. But other names that were being entertained were Jeff Green and believe this, and you can believe this or not, but Avery Bradley was one of the guys that were being rumored to possibly return to Boston.
I like Avery Bradley. Avery Bradley's a good 3-and-D guy, and so is Jeff Green. He can hit a 3 in the corner. I feel like we could use that off the bench.
Yeah, that kind of shooting would be really valuable for us. And I mean, just having another defensive guy to pair up with Smart when he goes down, that'd be a great move for us.
I definitely think so.
Yeah, but that concludes what we have in NBA news. In NFL news, what I wanted to get into on the show, kind of brief, but what I wanted to cover was going off of the NFL, obviously the Pats are playing tonight in their preseason game. Are you a Patriots fan?
I'm a big Patriots fan.
Okay. I just want to make sure that, how do you feel about Mac Jones tonight?
See, I was a little bit iffy on him because he doesn't have the skill set that a lot of other guys do.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone's comparing him to Brady, and I don't really know about that. But I've heard good things about him in this training camp. So we'll see tonight, and we'll see what he can do.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to see what he can do tonight. I hope that he looks solid. If you had a pick for who you'd want to be the starter week 1, would you want Mac Jones or would you want Cam Newton?
I wouldn't want to throw him out to the Wolves like that. Let Cam Newton start. Let him take the bumps, and if anything bad happens, then I guess we could put him in, and the pressure won't be as high if we're already not as good.
Yeah. All right. I like that idea. I mean, I hope that if Cam Newton goes out tonight and sucks, then I'd say week 1 it's on the table.
I don't know. I feel like he's only going to play like a quarter tops. I don't think it's an actual QB contest, right? Not yet, at least.
Not yet. I mean, if Mac Jones goes out and really performs, then I think it becomes one. But hopefully we do have a quarterback competition, because obviously for the sake of this show, that'd be pretty entertaining. So going off that, the main topic I wanted to talk about in NFL news was a recent video was sent out to all the teams highlighting that the NFL officials are going to be like really honing in on enforcing taunting penalties this year. I know recently the NFL kind of like, loosened up and, said that we're going to allow like the excessive celebrations, like end zone dances are back. Like you can do like celebrate with your teammate, kind of get like all rowdy, do all stuff like that. But, now they're saying that, they're going to try to enforce taunting penalties. So guys like Tyreek Hill throwing up the peace sign as he's running the end zone. And I forget who it was who threw up the peace sign in, I think it was Winfield Jr. He threw up the peace sign in Tyreek Jr.'s face and did stuff like that. They're saying now that the NFL officials have been, told to specify and crack down on this type of taunting. What do you think about this?
I mean, they're professionals. Like, why does it matter? Like,
yeah,
I just don't understand it.
I mean, I think here's the thing. If it gets to the point where it's like absurdly showing guys up, then it's like, all right, like like don't make it all about you and rein it back and kind of like get it under control. But at this point, I don't feel like it's at the point where like guys are like, showboating all over the field. Now, are they showboating? Hell yeah, they're showboating. But like, do I think it's taking away from the actual game of football at this point? No, I don't. I don't think it's a negative on the game.
See, like, I don't think Tyreek Hill putting up the peace sign is disrespectful. I feel like he's just marketing himself being fast. So, and it's his brand now. So, like, his gloves, they have like the peace sign. So you just stick your hand up.
Yeah.
And now they have like the outline of the peace sign, which is cool. See, it's not like T.O. like running back to the star and slamming the football. It's completely different. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I mean, it's not like Randy Moss pulling his pants down and mooning the Green Bay crowd, which, I'll give it. That was funny. But, it's like when it's the coordinated stuff. And since they're allowing it, it's like, all right, like the NFL teams have found ways to like do it. Like now all the defenses are taking pictures after a pick, which I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of that. I think that's a little corny. Like in the middle of the game, I'm like, okay, like maybe don't do that there. But I think it's fine. Like I don't think that the NFL officials should be. The only thing I'm scared of is when you're telling officials to like go for stuff. Unfortunately, they don't know how to do things reasonably. If it was just like, hey, like, watch out for this, like, just be careful, then it's like, okay. But when it says we're telling officials to watch out for it, it's like, all right, so the officials are obviously going to take this way too far and it's going to ruin it for everyone.
Exactly. Like they did with the pass interference calls.
Mm-hmm.
That was ridiculous. I feel like there was a lot of unnecessary calls. And a lot of wasted time with the cameras because they had to review a lot of calls and not even a lot of calls got changed. It was just a waste of time for the game.
And the whole catch rules and stuff like that too, where it's like you have to make a football move for it to be a catch and all these other different like kind of specifications. It's all been way too kind of difficult. So I hope that they can. I hope that it doesn't go too far.
Yeah, and still with the catch rule, like you said, no one still even knows what the rules are. So the more they change it, the more confusing it gets. The only reason to change it if the fights were starting, and I don't see any fights going on, like a lot going on. So why change it? Why make it more difficult? Just let it play out.
I agree. Finally in NFL news, what I wanted to discuss was Deshaun Watson, who's kind of been for better reasons or not, has been a topic of discussion this offseason. Obviously, the scandal that he's been involved with has been we've kind of shied away from it on this show. But just from a player standpoint, do you think that he'll be playing this year with the Houston Texans?
I mean, as an organization, I feel like they want to do whatever it takes to win, and he's a hell of a quarterback. So he probably will play because he is a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. The team is not very good, but I feel like he can get them to a couple wins, 6 wins. So I don't know. It's up to the GM. It's a bad look for the team if he does play. So I don't know. I would love to see him play, even though I don't know what happened, but I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about anything in there either. I think he will play. If any more things come out, then I think that could, cut his season short. But I think, opening day, we probably will see him barring, any more kind of other stories coming out that, at that point could derail, that.
Now we've seen things like this in the league where they suspend him, but the league might be thinking that the team's not going to play him. Now, if the team goes to play him, he could be facing a suspension, I feel.
Yeah, it is possible. So I will have to see what ends up going down there. Obviously we'll be reporting with that as that goes down. But the final topic I wanted to get into tonight was UFC, which I didn't realize you were as big a fan with.
I am. I've been watching for a while now.
That's really cool. So we on the show, I got into UFC. I think I've explained it on this show a couple times, but for any new listeners, I got into UFC through the UFC 3 video game. That's how I literally learned who all the fighters were and learned, everything about that. How did you kind of get into the UFC?
My parents have always watched. I think they started when they were about my age because it got started getting big around then.
Yeah,
and they started watching it with them.
Mm-hmm. That's all right. So that's actually really cool. So that. I obviously came into it a very different way. Obviously, I knew who guys like Conor McGregor were. I knew who Khabib was, but I didn't know like guys like a Justin Gaethje or all these other guys until, I really started to, focus on and playing the video game. And then I took it to real life. And, at college, literally every Saturday night, like we would just like stream like the UFC fights. And, that was just what we would do on Saturday nights. And that was always just like a fun thing to have on the TV. It would either be UFC or some boxing event or whatever it was. We'd have it on the TV. But one of the big UFC events that went down recently was UFC 265. The main event was the interim heavyweight championship. For the title was between Derek Lewis and Ciryl Gane. Ciryl Gane ended up getting the victory via knockout / TKO. What did you think of the fight?
See, I thought it was a great fight. I thought Derek Lewis was gonna win actually, but Cyril Gane is a skilled athlete. He's very good. I knew Cyril Gane was more skilled, but Derek Lewis has power in his hands.
I mean, I ended up watching Derek Lewis's last fight against Curtis Blades, where he knocked him out in midair. It was that, I don't know if you saw that.
It was
knockout.
a crazy uppercut, and I don't even think he hit him clean. I think he hit him with his forearm and he knocked him out.
Yeah,
that's how much power he has.
He literally took him, like, he literally knocked a grown man out on his feet, and like just seeing him fall back like that was something I've never seen before. It's crazy. And he goes deep into fights and knocks guys out. Usually guys get tired and it's hard to knock guys out later in the fight. He goes like third round knockouts. That's amazing. It's very impressive. Unfortunately though, for him, he ended up going down here to Gane. Now that it's the interim championship, obviously that I think I think that Gane will be fighting Francis Ngannou whenever he wants to come back fighting. Did you think that this was kind of a little bit too short of a time for him to have an interim championship? Ngannou fought what, in April for the title?
Yes, I think he did.
Which in my opinion, doesn't seem like that long of a time to, go without fighting. 4 months doesn't seem that long for a UFC fight. So did you think that it was like, did you think it was justified to have an interim championship or no?
Well, Francis Ngannou and Derek Lewis, they had a fight scheduled and Francis Ngannou pulled out.
Oh, wow.
So that's why Cyril Gane stepped in, and that's why there's an interim title.
Okay, that makes sense. I was confused on that part. So, whenever Ngannou wants to go back, I think he was saying he'd wanted a couple more weeks, like either September.
He was traveling, so he didn't have enough time to train, and he said he needed a break.
Yeah, he was saying I think September, October would be a better time frame for him. I don't know what the deal will be for Gane at this point if he ends up wanting to obviously, it was 4 months off. I think a fight camp is like 5 weeks or something.
Yeah, about 8 weeks, I think.
Yeah, about 5 to 8 weeks, something like that. I don't know what it's going to take for Gane to get back into fighting shape. I don't know how soon he wants to go before fighting again. So it may be a little bit of time before we see a heavyweight fight in the UFC again. But hopefully it goes down, and hopefully we get a really good fight out of it.
Definitely. I think Cyril Gane is a very skilled athlete. And with Francis Ngannou, with his hands, who knows? He knocks everyone out.
Very true. And Francis Ngannou really came onto the scene for me. When I was playing in UFC 3, he is just that menacing, just striker that, just beats the hell out of you. And, he ended up taking it. He ended up, really doing well in his championship fight. He knocked the other guy out there.
Yeah, Stipe Miocic, he knocked out.
Yeah, Stipe was it was bad.
His most impressive knockout for me was against Rosenstrike. I think it only lasted like 20 seconds. He just charged him and knocked him out. Really? It was crazy.
Jeez, that's insane. I mean, with Francis, I hope that he can continue. I mean, I know that, earlier I spoke with Chase Lindsay, who is also a big UFC fan, had him on the show before. He was talking about Francis, early in his career, he'd get like gun shy, and there were other things about him too, where, maybe he didn't take it as seriously, but he's kind of shown that maturity lately, and he's like really kind of come into his own. I hope that he can. I hope that Francis can kind of have a run of his own, but I will be excited to see when Gane goes against him.
Definitely.
And the final thing tonight that I wanted to speak on with you, you actually brought it up to me. We were chilling out playing some basketball, and you ended up mentioning to me that Anderson Silva is going to be fighting again. I was like, what? The 43-year-old's going to be getting back in the octagon? You ended up saying no. He's actually going to be fighting Tito Ortiz in a boxing match on September 11th. Do you want to, you kind of know a little bit more about it, so I'll let you kind of talk about
I do. That. Now Anderson Silva fought back, I think a couple months ago. He's faced Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who's a professional boxer. He was a champ at one point. He had a little bit falling off. He had some mental health issues. Okay. But his dad is like one of the best Mexican boxers of all time. He was a world champ. And now he beat him in a decision, and it was a unanimous decision. He beat him handily. And now he's fighting Tito Ortiz, which is more of a wrestler when he was in UFC. Yeah. So I know, and Anderson Silva is a great striker. I think Anderson Silva is gonna put him on him bad. He might be able to do that, because if you look at wrestlers going to boxing, I just think now of Ben Askren against Jake Paul getting knocked out like that was an ugly fight. Yeah. I did you end up seeing that? I didn't watch. I didn't pay for it, but I saw the highlights. It was bad. It was not good for him. It was bad. So hopefully Tito doesn't follow in his footsteps there with that. But I hope that I'll be excited to see Anderson fight again, because when he was in his prime, the guy was literally unstoppable. Yeah, he's great hands, great striking. And I'm just excited to watch it, see if he can keep it going. Yeah. The one thing that I never understood about Anderson Silva is, like, you see this guy, he's just
a menace in the octagon. But then you listen to this guy, and he sounds like the most innocent guy.
He's the nicest guy ever.
He literally, like, I didn't expect him to have as high of a voice as he is. Like, nothing on that, like, about him personally. That's just where he's from. But like, he's like this very friendly guy, and I'm just like how is this guy just a killing machine?
Yeah, not everyone has to be like Conor McGregor.
I mean, I guess, like, it's crazy how he can flip a switch like that.
A lot of UFC guys are really cool, like Justin Gaethje, and very nice guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and another thing I ended up finding out about the Anderson Silva fight is that it's actually gonna be part of the Oscar De La Hoya versus the Vitor Belfort match, which I think the De La Hoya fight is like the main event. So this is gonna be like an undercard of that. That's actually turning into a pretty good fight. I mean, that's going to be held on Triller, which is now becoming the Jake Paul kind of sponsorship thing of the world. That fight's going to be taking place later on this month. I think in like at this point it's only like probably like 2 or so weeks away from that fight going down. What do you think about the Jake Paul fight?
Which one? Oh,
versus Tyron Woodley.
Now, Tyron Woodley, he was more of a wrestler, but he also knocked guys out in the UFC.
Yep.
But he's been having some trouble in the UFC. But we've seen guys like Anderson Silva himself. He lost his last couple of UFC fights, then he went and beat a professional boxer. So who knows? I think Tyron Woodley has very powerful hands, but Jake Paul has been a menace lately. So we'll see.
I hope Tyron puts Jake on his ass. I really do.
I like Jake Paul. I like his confidence.
Listen, I want to see him fight a boxer. That's all I'm saying. He fought a YouTuber who's literally had one of the worst fighting styles I've ever seen in my life, in a Neeson Gibb. He fought a professional basketball player in Nate Robinson. He fought literally the worst example of a UFC fighter that you could pick. Nothing on Ben Askren, but you look at Ben Askren and he has no striking history literally anywhere in his career. So when I saw him getting in the ring, I knew it was immediately over. And now he's fighting Tyron Woodley, who has a bit more of a striking history to himself. So I hope that, this is the answer that can finally silence Jake Paul.
I don't know. Jake Paul is going to keep going. I think he's the problem child is going to keep going and just keep being a problem.
Well, we'll have to go from there. But, while the problem child may keep going, unfortunately, this show is coming to an end. And we are unfortunately now down to the wire, which means that I'm going to do a quick little run through of what we talked about in today's episode, and we'll send you guys on your way. Obviously welcomed Braden Ventura into the show. Braden, obviously, it was a great time having you on, man.
Thanks for having me.
I know it was kind of last minute, and I know I kind of, asked you out of the blue, but really glad to get you on. I mean, you are at our house, so I kind of just, could have just trapped you down in the basement, but, really, really glad to have you on. We obviously talked about the Red Sox struggles and, everything they've been going through. Chris Sale, hopefully being able to, bring them back to, their glory earlier in the season. We talked about the Olympics replacing baseball and softball in 2024 with breakdancing for the Paris Games. We talked about Dennis Schroder going to the Boston Celtics on a 1-year, $5.9 million contract. We also talked about the Celtics making a move to sign Enes Kanter, and also rumors about them bringing back Jeff Green and Avery Bradley. In NFL news, we talked about NFL officials being told to closely monitor / enforce taunting penalties this season, as well as discussing will Deshaun Watson play this year, and also discussing our hopes for Mac Jones and Cam Newton going into this preseason. And finally, we ended things off talking about UFC, talked about Cyril Gane beating Derek Lewis in the heavyweight and to win the interim heavyweight championship belt, as well as Anderson Silva fighting Tito Ortiz in a boxing match this September. A lot of great news happening in sports. We obviously here at Down to the Wire have some really cool things in store for you guys. But from Down to the Wire, I'm Brian Costa.
I'm Braden Ventura.
And have a good one, you guys.